I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Shocking news. Jailhouse lawyer helps Diddy win case during closing arguments against the feds. That's right. You heard it. Yes. Let me get my copyright disclaimer out the way. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Exactly where is Shank Rock going at with this? Right? All right. Prosecutors in Diddy's trial have dropped several charges against him as the trial ends. Why do y'all think that they dropped those charges? Let me salute my chat. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to my moderator. Salute to the chat. Salute Jessica. Salute Cynical. Mary Ann, Kenya, Pee-wee. I see you, Pee-wee. Why do y'all believe that they dropped those charges? Well, they have always had a weak case, you know. Now, let's look at it from a jailhouse lawyer's perspective. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Salute Miami. Let me take a quick break, and I'm going to come back, and we're going to get into this demonstration. Let me take a quick break, y'all. I'll be right back. Now, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to give you all my jailhouse lawyer take on it. And then I'm going to go to my man, Lionel Legal, and he's going to pretty much back up my jailhouse lawyer take on it. All right. So let me see what the chat's saying. I'm coming, y'all. Who else we got? Salute me. Shantae, Passion. Jessica says they didn't have a strong case with trafficking. They only can prove that he was a physical abuser and a freak. The abuser charges he settled that before. So now what? Let's expose the freak. What case? Exactly. Salute, Pebbles. Now, for me being a jailhouse lawyer, I'm going to, now, of course, y'all know I'm not as polished. I won't be as polished as a paid attorney. I probably won't even be as polished as a public pretender. You know, however, I've had ample amount of time to study the case, and I do know the ins and outs. Now, for me, the first thing that I'm going to attack I'm going to attack the charges that they got against them. They got racketeering, running a continuously criminal enterprise, right? They got sex trafficking against him, okay? They're claiming that, he flew out people across state lines. There was some money exchanging. There was, inappropriate, y'all know what I'm talking about. There was those type of relations going on. All right, we're going to look at both. All right, salute Lady Leo. Now, the racketeering, running a continuously criminal enterprise, that was put on the books many, many years ago, specifically to bring down the mafia. The mafia was into extortion. The mafia was into robberies, robbery, assault, a fraud, money embezzlement, violence. This is what it was put on the books for. Now, if they put this on the books for the mafia, we have to put P. Diddy in that same lens. Okay, where's the extortion? Did they prove what was can you prove that he was extorting people? All right. Money laundering. Can we prove that there was money laundering going on? Violence. Where's the violence? All right. Let's switch lanes to the sex trafficking. Just like the racketeering was put on the books to bring down the mafia, well, sex trafficking was put on the books to bring down the pimps. Right? Now, what comes along with the pimping? Well, what the pimps were doing, not all of them, but they used this to bring down all the pimps. But what the pimps, some of them was doing, and this is how they was getting them on the sex trafficking charges, they were transporting them state to state. Once you cross a state line, you could be, the charge could be something minor. But if you crossed from one state into another state, that falls under the federal jurisdiction. The feds coming for you. So they tagged the sex trafficking on these pimps because they was taking the prostitutes from one state to another state. All right. Now, along with them transporting the prostitutes from one state to another state, they were saying that they were transporting them from state to state and means of them prostituting, turning tricks. Let's look at P. Diddy, his sex trafficking that they got on him. Was he transporting these prostitutes from state to state as they engaged in sexual relations for money? No, there's no way that the prosecution proved that P. Diddy was taking women and men across state lines prostituting. All they have been able to prove when it comes to the racketeering, all they've been able to prove when it comes to the sex trafficking, all they have been able to prove is what? Relationship issues, domestic violence, orgies, for that matter. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a legal expert. All right. And this is my man, Lionel Legal from Lionel Nations. Make sure when y'all get an opportunity, make sure y'all go and subscribe to his channel and check him out. He's more polished, of course, than me. So I'm going to build off of what he's saying. But really, all he's going to tell you all is the same things that I've told y'all, the same thing that I explained to y'all. But he's more polished than me. So let's go to my man.
Now, look, The case is going to be going to the jury. How would you prove innocence, or how would you find guilty? How would you find Diddy not guilty? Because you're not going to prove innocence. There's no such thing as innocence. Stop saying innocence. There's no such thing as that. How would you win the case with Diddy? Very, very simple. Let me go through a couple of things with you, bring you up to speed. Remember, I don't care about proving anything. Remember, I'm the defense lawyer. I'm trying to basically kill probable cause, a reasonable doubt, I should say. Okay. Now, first, the strategy is that this was debauched. This wasn't criminal. The central argument is going to be that this case is about moral disapproval of Sean Combs' lifestyle, not about proof of federal crimes beyond a reasonable doubt.
And that's basically what I was saying. It's about his personal life, his relations with these men. A federal crime? No. They wasn't able to prove a federal crime took place. And if you listen to other legal experts, Judge Mathis, shout out to Judge Mathis, he even said it. And so many others have said it. You trying to get this man with racketeering, running a criminal enterprise, you didn't prove your case.
The defense has got to convince the jury that while Diddy may be guilty of excess and vulgarity or even immorality, he is not guilty of orchestrated a criminal enterprise or trafficking anyone. As to RICO, you've got to attack the RICO conspiracy, attack the enterprise and predicate acts. And the best argument is that there was no enterprise. This was not the mafia. This was a celebrity entourage, not a crime syndicate.
Same thing that I said. This is not the mafia, and that's what that's what the charge was put on the books for. Nothing more, nothing less. But as we see in the R. Kelly case, what they do is they've stretched the law. Now, is it justified for the feds to be able to stretch the law? They go back and speak, and they go back and throw charges that's not pertaining to this defendant. They stick it on the defendant anyway. So when it comes to the racketeering, where is the continuously enterprise? I mean, he already had money. Usually with the mafia, they whole enterprise is governed around making money. Let me just stay there for a minute. The mafias, their whole purpose of running the continuous enterprise is to make money. Baby Oil Man, he didn't make no money off of his alleged criminal enterprise. They wasn't able to prove that Baby Oil Man made one dime. One dime. They wasn't able to prove that he made one dime off of this alleged criminal enterprise.
Undermine relatedness. First part, relatedness and continuity. Relatedness. Argue that the alleged acts, drugs, sex, money, whatever, were isolated acts, not part of some coordinated plan. Undermine continuity. Remember, relatedness and continuity. Portray the incidents as episodic, chaotic, even abusive, but not organized, not systemic, not systematic, not organized, not continuous. That's the most important thing. Remember, this is the aspect which is the most important. You have to understand relatedness and continuity. That's it. Undermine the involvement of others. Say that no one was employed in the criminal network. Friends, girlfriends, staff, all voluntary, present in this orbit of fame and excess. The tagline should be, this was a party house, isn't a racketeering ring.
Stay right there. What'd he say? This is a party house. That's all you got on the man. A party. No racketeering. And if it was, why is Baby Oil Man the only one being charged? Let me come to the chat. The feds just hit Albuquerque police with a DWI related RICO case, originally designed to dismantle the mob. RICO can and is being applied to broader patterns of organized misconduct. Stay right there. Misconduct. Misconduct and crime is two different things. Now, sure, they could throw charges on you. If anyone has ever dealt with the legal system, if anyone has ever been charged with a crime, me, myself, has been charged plenty of times with crimes. They will stick X amount of charges on you, knowingly, willingly knowing that you didn't commit this crime. You didn't commit this. That's why they always do what? The state or the feds is willing to offer a plea. And this is how it works. They give you those charges, right? So now at the preliminary, when they present this evidence, this is when the deal and everything starts to come into play. Okay, what we're willing to do is we're willing to drop this charge. We're willing to drop that charge. You know, if he cops out to this, and if he cops out to this time, then tell him or tell her we're willing to drop this and this and this. Now, a first timer, this is how they get the first timers. You ain't never been in trouble with the law before. First thing gonna come to your mind is, damn, okay, they gonna drop 3 charges and they only going to hit me with this one, and they're willing to offer me a deal. All right, that's a first timer. But most first timers don't even fall for it. Most first timers don't fall for it because most first timers know, well, why would they be bringing these charges against me? I've been trying to tell them from the beginning that I'm innocent of these charges. And then here come your jailhouse lawyers in every state, in every city, in every federal prison, in every state prison, in every jail, central booking, county jail, you're going to run across jailhouse lawyers. And in fact, most attorneys, they use jailhouse lawyers. We've heard of the stories where inmates represented themselves, beat the case. Upon release, they went on to obtain their lawyer's license. But back to my point, they known to throw charges at you. That's what they do. Now, let's get back to what you saying as far as, well, they put this and put that, and this is what I mean by stretching. This is what I mean by stretching the law. Therefore, asserting that misconduct is not a crime is legally inaccurate. Misconduct can and often does meet the elements of a criminal offense. Now, stay right there. Once upon a time, because you're speaking on what's legal, right? Once upon a time, slavery was legal. So I want everybody to understand, just because it may be legal, something may be legal, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. Slavery was once legal, right? But people fought to get it abolished. So let's not get caught up on what's legal and what's not legal. Let's focus in on the actual charge. And once again, in the R. Kelly case, this is in the motion for the disqualification. This is why R. Kelly's attorneys filed the motion for disqualification. because the government stretched the law. They stretched the law to work in their favor. Let's go back to my man, Lionel.
This is Hugh Hefner. This is the Playboy Mansion. Sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion? No. Attack consent and intent. The best argument is that they were adult relationships, messy, toxic, gross, even manipulative, horrible, but they were not trafficking.
And this ain't coming from me. This coming from my man. He's got over 30 years in the attorney field. It's all relationship. Perfect example. Hugh Hefner. Why haven't they brought sex trafficking? Why haven't they brought racketeering against Hugh Hefner? Same setup. Yes or no, Jessica and everybody else? Hugh Hefner, same setup. Right? Those women at the Bunny Ranch, they fly in and out. Right? Men fly in and out to the Bunny Ranch to perform sexual relations. Now, come on. I'm going to come back to you right here. Just the facts. Come on. What's the difference? Why haven't they charged Hugh Hefner with those same crimes? See? I'll wait. I'll wait.
They were not trafficking. Emphasize agency and participation. This is important. This is the alleged victims in this remained in relationship. They took money, accepted gifts, traveled by choice. No commercial sex arrangement forced or brokered. It was intimate. It wasn't a transactional, illegal sense. And undermined the force, fraud, coercion element. This is important. Did the alleged victim ever call the police? Were there threats or just power imbalances?
Did the victims, did they ever call the police? Once again, it was nothing more than an orgy. Nothing more than consent to have sex. Us old timers, we know that type of behavior that was going on, we know it as to be swingers. Yep, same thing. Not the first and won't be the last. These folks are freaks. That ish been going on. Woke up looking for the broccoli, high key, keep a horn on me. That common sense ownership, the blueprint is by me, Mr. Freak Off. I freak off like Diddy. That's all. Current says facts. That's all. That's all. And all the government is doing is stretching the law. That's all they're doing. If it's a criminal enterprise, okay, let's see what Just the Fact says. Diddy paid $100K to a security guard for the surveillance footage in a signed agreement barring the guard from speaking. This is evidence of obstruction of justice and bribery enough for a RICO. It's not going to fall under RICO. It's not. Trust me. It's not. Let me get everybody to throw free baby oil man in the chat. Free baby oil man, free P. Diddy. Along with that, make sure y'all are putting free Kelly.
Did the prosecution prove any intent to exploit? The tagline, the theme is there was seduction, not sex trafficking. Next, transportation for prostitution. This is the Mann Act. Attack the intent and definition. The best argument is that no one was trafficked across state lines for prostitution. This was a private relationship.
No one was transported across lines, state lines, for prostitution. That's not enough. He paid him to do a job. Free Diddy, free R. Kelly. They dumbass sat on that video for years. They should have been held in jail for not calling the police when it happened in the hotel, period, point blank. Free R. Kelly, free P. Diddy, and free Art College. Let freedom reign. No prostitution was going on. Baby Oil Man wasn't making no money. Sex trafficking was put on the books for pimps. Nothing more, nothing less. Just like the racketeering, the RICO, was put on for the mafia. Exactly. They have several male escorts from Las Vegas, Cali, New York, Miami, Atlanta. Escorts, not prostitutes. See, you should know that, just the facts. Escorts are not considered to be prostitutes. Prostitutes sell kitty cat for money. That's prostitution. Selling kitty cat for money. Escorts is different from prostitution. Just saying. They were doing a job.
Not a pimping operation. Attack the definition of prostitution. Was sex offered?
Let me backtrack. Listen to my man now.
For prostitution, this was a private relationship, not a pimping operation. Attack the definition of prostitution. Was sex offered for money, or was it part of a consensual, romantic celebrity lifestyle? As crazy as that might seem. Highlight voluntary travel. Did the victims choose to travel for parties, events, or relationships? They choose. Were they told to perform for pay, or did they just show up, or were they reimbursed? This is not prostitution. Undermined intent. The prosecution must prove that Combs intended to have someone cross state lines for illegal sex work. Proving beyond a reasonable doubt is very tough, especially in celebrity context. This is going to be really tough. The tagline, the idea should be, she traveled for love and fame, not for sale. And also weaponize the spectacle.
She traveled for love and fame. Especially when it comes to Cassie. We all know what Cassie was doing around Baby Oil Man. And if you don't know what Cassie was involved with Baby Oil Man for, Cassie was involved with Baby Oil Man for money and fame. You do not hook up with Baby Oil Man. You do not get with Baby Oil Man thinking that you're going to be the only woman in his life. He's going to be my man. I'm going to be his woman. He's not going to see no other women. You do not hook up with Baby Oil Man to be in this relationship. You hook up with Baby Oil Man because Baby Oil Man got money. Baby Oil Man got fame. And you want to benefit. You want a little of that money and you want some of that fame. And that's why Cassie got with Baby Oil Man from the beginning. Nothing more, nothing less. If you take Shank Rock and you take Baby Oil Man, and if you place Shank Rock in front of Cassie, and you place Baby Oil Man in front of Cassie, Cassie is going to choose Baby Oil Man over Shank Rock. Why do y'all think? It don't have nothing to do with looks. It don't have nothing to do with education. It don't have nothing to do with whether I'm a nice guy. It doesn't have anything to do with whether Baby Oil Man is a nice guy. None of that is the factor. She's going to choose Baby Oil Man over Shank Rock because Baby Oil Man got a name that's bigger than New York City itself. Shank Rock ain't got no goddamn name. Baby Oil Man got millions and millions and millions of followers. Shank Rock only got 19,000 subscribers. Now, if you put Shank Rock up against somebody that got lesser followers than me, she gonna choose Shank Rock because I got more followers. So she choose Baby Oil Man over Shank Rock. It's a no-brainer. We see this happen. It's been happening for ages. Stop trying to justify these funky ass hoes. It's nothing more. It's nothing less. When you want to justify women, you justify the independent, hardworking 9-to-5 women that's doing what they got to do to be successful, that don't have time for a Baby Oil Man. You want to justify some women, you justify the God-fearing women. You justify the virtuous women. You justify the women that are on the right side of the track that wouldn't pay Baby Oil Man no attention. Those women on the right side of the track, they would choose Shank Rock over Baby Oil Man because they would look at Shank Rock's character and they would look at Baby Oil's Man character and they would judge, they would make their decision on our characters. Cassie is not on the right side of the track. I know. But Shank, she was a victim. Was she a victim? Was Cassie really a victim? Let's call a spade a spade. I'll wait. Was she a victim? Hell to the nah. If you want the racketeering, if you want the RICO case to stick, you gotta make Cassie a co-conspirator with Baby Oil Man. Cassie was flying in the male escorts, wasn't she? Cassie was paying the male escorts, wasn't she? And I think in one incident, it may be more, Cassie even threatened. So if you want to really talk this racketeering, all right, but Baby Oil Man can't go down by itself. Cassie got to go down with Baby Oil Man as a co-conspirator. Just saying.
The defense can argue that the entire prosecution is political. It's about feeding the media machine. It's about trying to make a federal racketeering case fit. Because if they don't fit, there is no federal case here. The government turned the sordid gossip column into a federal indictment. Don't let that circus determine a man's freedom. Undermine the credibility of witnesses, money, motive, publicity, lawsuits. Explain we didn't have to put a case on because the prosecution never proved theirs. Highlight the idea of selective prosecution. Why now? Why after civil suits were paid? Why now?
Stop right there. My man on point. Why now? After civil lawsuits was paid. And that's why I got my man, because I know if my jailhouse lawyer ass try to present anything, Shank Rock, woo. So I got my man. My man, he hit it on the nose. Let's backtrack. Let me backtrack it. Why all of a sudden now, after the civil lawsuits has been paid, now here you come with a criminal enterprise? Right? Right. But let me backtrack my man. My man is on point.
Of witnesses, money, motive, publicity, lawsuits. Explain we didn't have to put a case on because the prosecution never proved theirs. Highlight the idea of selective prosecution. Why now? Why after civil suits were paid? Why now? Argue overreach. The feds are turning Hollywood excess into organized crime. That's not justice. That's overkill. And what you have to do is you have to tell the jury, you may hate the parties, you may hate the drugs, the fame, you may hate him, but that's not your job. Your job is to decide whether the government has proved this case. And on that, ladies and gentlemen, they failed.
I mean, couldn't have said it no better. What are your thoughts about Baby Oil Man settling Cassie's lawsuit at the speed of light? Once again, Baby Oil Man is guilty. All right? In my perspective, allegedly. Baby Oil Man is guilty of domestic violence. That's all they got on Baby Oil Man as far as breaking the law. That videotape, it shows domestic violence. But we know domestic violence, that's not a fair case. Domestic violence is state. So to answer your question on why did he settle that lawsuit, because he knew he was guilty of, the domestic violence. They got him on that. See, when with R. Kelly along with Baby Oil Man, but let me just stick with Baby Oil Man. Same way with Donald Trump, okay? You can't, it's like my man just said, as far as in the closing arguments, how he would speak to the jurors. You can't base your decision off of whether or not you like this man. You have a job to do. Let's be honest. The majority of us, we hate our coworkers, right? The majority of us, we hate our supervisors, right? But we still got a job to perform. I can't get out of not doing my job by saying, man, I don't like so-and-so. I don't like the supervisor, so I ain't doing no work, right? Just because you might not like your coworker, that don't mean that your coworker don't perform the job. Now back to Baby Oil Man. Just because you might not like Baby Oil Man, or just because Baby Oil Man is guilty of the domestic violence charge, it goes back to what I was saying as far as when you get locked up. They're going to stick X amount of charges on you. Everybody that's been locked up know what I'm talking about. They're going to stick X amount of charges on you. One time, this was in 98, they had put 81 counts on me. But now, what did they do all that for? So in my mind, so they trying to play on my intelligence. Damn, they got me with 81 counts. Damn. But when I done my homework and when my attorney came, and then this was a case, this was the one time I had a state case that could have went federal. But when the feds came in, the feds talked with me, they said if we did pick up this case, you would get probation from it. They said because the state messed this case up. So the 81 counts ended up getting dropped down to just one count. And this is what I'm trying to explain, the Baby Oil Man case. They hit him with all them charges. They hit him with all them counts because they know we gonna hit him with all these counts. And if we could just get him with one, we could get him with one, but we're gonna just throw all these charges on him. They do that. I guess it's their strategy. But everybody that's been locked up before, they know how they play. They know, everybody know how they play. And then when you go to the preliminary, and then when you start getting the motion of discoveries, then when you make it to the arraignment, then when you make it to trial, by the time you make it to trial, why do you think they came at Baby Oil Man before the trial with 5 years? The feds don't offer 5 years for racketeering. Dana J can vouch for that. Why do you think they offer them 5 years? You mean to tell me 5 years for racketeering? And they didn't ask him to give up any names. See, this is how it goes. Okay, we got him charged with this. Okay, well, tell him this is what we're willing to do. If he take a cop out, because the feds, we all know how the feds work. The feds want names. The feds want names. So they could build cases against other people. They never put that in that plea agreement with the 5 years. They never mentioned anything. What names did he give up? Did he give up names even though the feds didn't ask? What names did he give up? I got the paperwork. Send it to me. See, another thing that we got to be careful with. Another thing we got to be careful with. We got to be careful with the information that we intake from people. If it ain't in black and white, I want to see it in black and white. Now, okay, now Dana J says he dropped some names. Okay, why did he drop the names? Why did he drop the names? The only time you're going to drop names, the only time is when there's a plea agreement. I mean, dropping names and saying names is two completely different things. You know, you might hear him mention, let's say, Cassie, when Cassie brought up Lauren London's name. That's not dropping names. She was just, you know, dropping names is when you giving up names on people that has committed a crime. So you dropping names and you saying, okay, I got some information on a crime that so-and-so done. That's dropping names. When you giving up information that can lead to the prosecution of that individual. But just because you speak somebody's name in court, just because you speak somebody's name at trial, that don't mean that that's dropping names. It got to be in black and white. I dropped the link. Come on up. Come on up.
That's the way you do it. That's it. That simple. And what's so interesting, believe it or not, is that nothing more needs to be done, needs to be explained. That simple, that easy, that clean. Don't make it any more obvious than it is. That's it. Or don't make it any more complicated. Because the idea is that it's obvious. Yeah. And sit down and let that jury, the less you say, the better. Breviloquence, be brief.
Slide in just the facts. How you feel, brother?
Doing good, man. Good evening to you, man. Good evening to your audience as well. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Talk good. Talk to me.
Oh, I thought you just wanted me to show the paperwork, right? Or you want me to talk?
Yeah, show the paperwork. Yeah. Show the paperwork.
So let me see.
So when you say,
yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
When you say he dropped names, what do you mean? Okay.
I'm gonna show the paperwork and then I'm gonna let you judge for yourself. You know what I mean?
I got you.
And then anybody else who's like interested in like funding any paperwork on the case that you don't have to pay for, you can just go to well, when he shows my screen, I can just show you guys where to get it as well. So let me go to the original part so everybody can see, so they can also access it. So you guys, are you able to see this right here?
Yes, sir. USA versus Combs.
No, I'm talking about the URL. So it's diddydocket.com.
Yes.
Yeah. So anybody who's like interested in like, so if you go over here, he has all the case documents and stuff like that. So it's about like close to like 300 and no, I think 420 cases. But let me see. Yeah, 422 paperworks and stuff, so you can read it. But on this particular one, I'm talking about docket 325, and this might be interesting to people, people in our community that feel like, if you read this case right here, you see right here it says Combs basically is writing to the judge saying that there was a clear case of selective prosecution and that they're trying to try him because he's a prominent black man. Are you able to see my screen properly or no?
Yes, sir. I can see it. I don't know if they can see it, but I can see it. You good?
Okay. So let's get down to it. So let me see. I think let's see right here. Here we go right here. I'll let you read it just so people don't think I'm biased. But right here, you can start from here to like 3 or 4 lines and you get it. You see what my cursor is right here?
Yeah. Combs doesn't have evidence. You want me to start there?
Yes, sir.
All right. It says Combs doesn't have evidence of either discriminatory effort or pronounce that word for me, bro.
Discriminatory.
Discriminatory. All right, let me start over. Combs doesn't have evidence of either discriminatory, I always mess up words, effect or discriminatory intent based on his race. On discriminatory effect, Combs offers up several examples of prominent individuals whom Combs believes may have violated 2421 and were not prosecuted. Combs says race is the reason he was prosecuted and they were not. The government responds by pointing out that these individuals aren't similarly situated to Combs given the sex trafficking allegations against him. The broader pattern of alleged racketeering activity by Combs that Combs allegedly transported victims and not just commercial sex workers across state lines, and the lack of proof that Combs exemplars committed acts meeting all the elements of the statute.
Just to summarize, everything from everybody. I mean, just like you guys are reading it, there was a situation where Diddy actually sent in names, footage, evidence from private investigators showing like, hey man, this guy just flew this girl from this spot to this spot, but you guys are not prosecuting him, but you guys are coming after me. Why is that? And that's why the government was saying, well, it's not just that, obviously, I don't even want to mention names. We all know actors and different people, or even normal people flying girls from across state lines. The only problem is these people are not accusing them of of being sex trafficked. You know what I'm saying? Or they're not having hundreds of people calling the Homeland Security Office. Don't forget, you remember the Busby and everybody calling in and this person filing this and this and this and this and that. So when it gets to that point, at a certain point in time, the government has to look into it. But also, if you look down right here, they give a bunch of names of like different white people that they picked up. You see what I'm saying? See all the names over here that they gave? You see, other races were persecuted for 229, where there were also allegations of sex trafficking, blah, 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 including Peter, Ghislaine Maxwell, blah, 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 all these other people and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about in the paperwork and stuff that, and it's okay for him to give up names. I don't have any problem with it, but I'm just saying, just like you're saying, it's not correct to make allegations with people if you can't back it up with paperwork.
Now let me ask you this, good brother. Yeah. Are these the names that he gave? Are these individuals that already have previous charges?
No, man, that's the thing.
Okay. Then I'm gonna accept your paperwork. Okay, I'll accept your paperwork. I'm gonna do my homework on it myself, but I will accept your paperwork.
And that's why I was trying to give out the URL so other people could independently verify and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But no, I get what do you call it, man. I get the fact that you're playing devil's advocate or whatnot. But I think especially in our community where a lot of people lack the proper legal knowledge. I think some people might take it like seriously and I think it's okay to do what they're doing. But I think you're familiar with the case of Jack Johnson, right?
No, no.
Okay, so Jack Johnson was the first what do you call it, African American heavyweight champion in like the 1910s.
Yeah.
And they came up with the Man's Act. The Man's Act was the main reason why they came up with to try and put Jack Johnson in jail, because Jack Johnson, man, he was the first Diddy before Diddy was Diddy. Like he was balling out, you know what I'm saying, smashing chicks all over the place. But he got married to a white girl. And they didn't like that. And so one time he was in a train and he went from another state to another state and they arrested him under the Man's Act. And the main reason we need to understand our history is because if we know our history, and when we see certain things start trying to pop up, then we know how to deal with it. You know what I mean? And I'm very, very disappointed in Diddy because I watched one video in which Diddy was going to his office and I saw a big picture of Jack Johnson right before he entered his office. So I'm like, Diddy's he's privy to the information. Why did he put himself in this situation? Because this is the same thing happened over and over again. They're sending what do you call it, tools that the feds have in their toolbox. As soon as you start acting up, or you know what I mean, or you think you're above the law, or you don't want to follow the program, then they whip you into shape. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for everybody. And the only person, and I'll leave with this, the only person that I think people need to study when it comes to this matter is this gentleman called Mike Jeffries. And you guys can look him up. I believe Mike Jeffries might be the devil himself. Mike Jeffries. Yeah, Mike Jeffries is the ex-CEO of Abercrombie and Fish. For those who know what Abercrombie and Fish is kind of like the polo for like mainstream America type stuff. He was accused with the same thing that Diddy did. His stuff is even worse. He's like, he's getting like people who are like not even like, I don't even want to use the word, but like people who are not part of that guy. He's taking people who are not part of the Rainbow Coalition and making them part of the Rainbow Coalition. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then when the feds came to get him, this is the main reason why I think people got to study him. When the feds came to get him, his lawyers and everything like that, they already had the paperwork and stuff like that ready to show that he had Alzheimer's. So since he has Alzheimer's, they were saying that he wasn't mentally fit to stand court. That man is at home right now, chilling. He's 80 years old, and for the past 20 years, he's been making $71 million a year. You know what I'm saying? And here's the crazy part about it.
Yes.
I can give you guys, I'm not sure what the docket number is, but guess what, man? Before the feds pulled up to Diddy, they wrote him a letter asking him, Diddy, we know you're on a bunch of drugs and stuff like that. Do you have any mental illness? Diddy answered. Diddy's lawyers answered no. Then they came back 2 weeks later trying to say, nah, we got illness. By that time, it was too late. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, Diddy should have had at least one of Mike Jeffries' lawyers on his case, man. At least one of them. Because listen, here's the crazy part. He was so cold that even the legal fees that he was supposed to pay, Abercrombie and Fish, he had a contract with Abercrombie and Fish that says that they were going to pay all his criminal charges in case he gets indicted. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't even have to pay nothing. You know what I mean? So, I'll just mention that as a case study to show what to do, And then also what I just showed on that docket, if you read it, as a black man, like I said, Diddy was writing to the judge trying to tell him, hey, the government is targeting me because I'm a black man, this and this and this and that. And the judge laid out the legal way to do it. He was like, yo, Diddy, your lawyers didn't present the case this way. If you want to prove that you're like a black man, they're coming after you, you got to meet these elements. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, as a black man, if you read it, You know what I'm saying? You at least understand that in case, you know, something happens to you, at least you have a blueprint. You know what I mean? It's like doing an exam for the professor and you get something wrong and the professor's like, yo, man, this is how you're supposed to solve the problem. All you got to do is just study that.
Right.
And the next time the question comes, you present that and you'll be all right. You know what I mean? But again, I get what you're saying. And, you know, there's different ways of looking at it. And most importantly, Diddy is innocent until proven guilty. You know what I'm saying? So,
let me ask you this. What do you think? What you think the verdict going to be?
Oh, man, I think Diddy's going to do life. You know what I'm saying? I think Diddy's going to. And the main reason why I think Diddy's going to do life is because at the end of the day, the judge is going to tell the jury how they're supposed to judge the case by giving them the instructions. You know what I mean? So it's going to be like, hey, you know, for like when they said the drug charge, drug distribution, technically drug distribution, if you're at a party and you're smoking a blunt and you pass a blunt to somebody else under the law, that's drug distribution. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, everybody might have a different definition of what it is and all that, but all of that doesn't matter in the court of law because technically you're supposed to go with the judge's instructions. Now, if for some strange reason people want to use emotion and his celebrity comes into play and everything like that, then, you know, rightfully so. I guess he's earned that as well. But that wouldn't really be what you call justice. And I think, to be honest with you, the scary part about everything, in my opinion, is that I believe in the next 5 years, based on the way juries are going, they're probably going to start using AI. And when they start using AI and stuff like that, you know, now it will come down to, are you able to interpret the computer code to see if they put any race bias in it? You know what I'm saying? Because I remember, listen, man, I remember taking an exam. I was taking an exam one time, and the computer shut off, and the computer said I was cheating. But there were cameras on me. I wasn't cheating. What had happened was most of the people who take the exam, the camera was was programmed to be able to capture the light of white people and not able to capture the light of black people.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So the government came in and stuff like that, and they apologized to me and sent me a big check before I even had to call my lawyer. They already knew what it was. Yo, my bad, yo, this and that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, because, you know, I'm not even like, you know, I know a little bit about computers, but I'm not program savvy. So once they start taking it to the AI and programming, and oh man, we're fucked. And then also, last but not the least, I also want to say, you know, I'm guilty of this also. I'm not, you know, I'll just say allegedly. But I think people in our community, if you get an opportunity to be part of the jury, try and be part of the jury, because now we can bring some kind of, you know, diverse perspective to the jury. Now, it's kind of hard to do that because, you know, the people in Diddy's case, they're getting paid $50 a day. You know what I'm saying? And if you're in New York City and you get paid $50 a day, you're not working for a couple, you know, for a month, things could get dicey. You know what I'm saying? Now, luckily, you know, I think these guys were smart enough where they use, in fact, I can show, my screen is not showing right now, but I was going to say, luckily enough, they were using jury consultants where they picked up people who were like, let me show real quick. Not this one, right here. Right here, this is the jury, the profile of the jurors. So luckily enough, you know, they picked jurors who, like, this guy's an investment analyst. Oh, this is the prison communication worker. He was the guy who got kicked off, who didn't have the addresses and stuff like that. And now, as you can see right here, there was a guy who's in finance who's retired and a guy in telecommunications who's retired. And then the main reason why I bring that up is because, you know, since these people are retired, it's not like they're ready to go home or they got a bunch of bills piling up and whatnot. They're probably in a better position than you know, the average person. You know what I mean? So you know, I know it's hard for some of us to be able to get in the jury and be able to keep up with our personal lives, but if we don't get involved in that, then, you know, it leaves it up to you know what I'm talking about, to the others.
Yeah, and this is why I was saying, as a people, we got to get involved in our community. We got to get involved.
Yes.
I
also say this. I'm very, very, very happy to see how many people in our community are given different perspectives and seem to be very, very interested in law. Now, it's it's possible and very easy to get a paralegal, degree by going to any community college, and that takes you about 2 years. And most community colleges, depending on what state you're in, the credits hour is probably about $70-$80, which is kind of like affordable. You know what I'm saying? So, right now it's only like about 5% in the 5% in the legal community of Black people. And I think we need to get a little bit involved in that. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very hard to go to law school because even Obama and Michelle Obama, like they graduated with debt. You know what I'm saying? It was because Obama was becoming president that somebody would have paid his his Harvard student loan. So don't get me wrong. Don't go put yourself in debt now. You know what I'm saying? Without if you don't have a good plan. But community college is always available. And don't forget, at the end of the day, what did the lawyers do? They called the paralegal people to come and summarize the whole case. So, you know what I'm saying? You can put yourself in a situation where, you know what I'm saying? And then I think that'll be good for everybody. You know what I mean?
I agree with you, good brother. And we can still party, drink. You can still do your thing. Whatever it is you got going on, you can still do it. But we got to get involved in the community.
Exactly. And then also, here's another thing too, man. I was just thinking about this earlier. I was thinking about the Tupac situation. You could be Tupac. You could be famous. You could be in the club. Some girl could allegedly, give you fellatio. You could take her upstairs. You can smash. And your friends can come in there. You can decide to walk out. And your friends can decide to smash. But just know that it's a possibility that the girl could say, hey, I wanted Tupac to smash, but I didn't want his friends to smash.
Yeah.
So you could be Diddy. You could bring some male escorts and stuff like that through. You know what I mean? Cassie and Jane could be okay with a few of them, but that doesn't mean that it could be okay with all of them. And the day they decide to say they weren't okay with all of them, that's when you're in the he say, she say. You know what I mean? It's no different. I put it this way. As a Black man, if you go to any club or any bar, as soon as it closes and you're just walking around, there's going to be a bunch of white girls and a bunch of girls who are going to come up to you. Hey, man, blah, 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 blah. They're drunk and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. You can decide to take them home and smash. Everything might be okay in the morning, but there's also a possibility that everything might not be okay in the morning. Yep. And when that happens, it will be he say, she say. You know what I mean? And you guys already know the odds against us, and you already know the history. So why put yourself in that situation?
That's facts. Now the YNs, them young dudes, 19, 18, 20, 25, and all that, even they should be aware of the game.
Of course.
Us old heads, it's no excuse.
Of course. I remember when I was on college campus and stuff, like as soon as the freshmen come in and everything like that, I'm saying, hey, be careful with who you drink with, be careful who you smoke with, and be careful who you sleep with. Because, you might find yourself in jail. For real. You know what I mean? You might drink with somebody next to the person pass out, you're underage, now they're doing the investigation, now you're kicked out of school. You know what I'm saying? You might meet a chick, she was down with you and everything like that. You smash, she wakes up, she's embarrassed and stuff, and now she went and said you raped her. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just say no. Under the law, like, there's they keep on bringing up the drugs and stuff like that because, when somebody takes drugs and stuff, under the law, they can say they're impaired. And so they weren't thinking correctly, you know what I mean? And then it becomes he say, she say, and then blah, 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 blah. And now you're Diddy, you're a billionaire, and then your life is in the hands of 12 random people. You know what I'm saying? Or your hands in the life of Mark Niflo. Man, today I couldn't listen, I'll give all credit. Listen, man, and you can ask people in the chat what they think. I personally think, given the closing arguments, there's no way that Mark, Brian Steele, the lady and everybody were like, yeah, man, this is the best closing argument we could give. go and let's kill these people. I have a funny feeling. Diddy wrote that, man. What do you think about that? I have a funny feeling Diddy wrote that because they didn't address any of the legal allegations, man. They didn't address, like, it was more like, oh,
I mean, good point.
Yeah. And then yes, one of the things you were mentioning was extortion. And let me see if I can refresh your memory on that. Remember Cassie's mother, gave a testimony that Cassie had sent her email saying Diddy was threatening to release her freak-off tapes unless he gave her $20,000. So she went and got a loan on on the house, and then sent Diddy the $20,000. Mm-hmm. So when it came to Diddy's team to give the rebuttal, and Diddy's team were going to give the rebuttal, Diddy waved off the team, and so they didn't give the rebuttal to that. So I was like, yo, like what is the jury gonna deliberate on when it comes to that particular charge? You got to be able to come bring some doubt or anything like that. Right. When you have a case where Diddy waved them off, and Diddy's the client, he's the boss, he's the king. So if they wave him off, they wave them off. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, why you wave him off? That's a huge allegation. You know what I'm saying? True. Now, there are people in the comments saying, they don't want to bother the mother. It's not going to look bad. Okay. Well, if that's the strategy that you guys want to use, then that's the strategy you want to use. But right now, when it comes to that, for the jurors to deliberate, they don't have anything on Diddy's side to combat that. You understand what I'm saying? That's true. I feel like Diddy, being the narcissist that he is, being the CEO guy that he is, executive producer, I get the final word, blah, 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 blah. He took that stuff all the way to court and not let his 10 lawyers do their job, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. There's a reason why they give you a lawyer for free when you're in trouble, because they know on the average person, you can't understand it, man.
That's true.
There's a reason why the feds dropped the aiding and abetting and the alleged,
arson.
Arson. Not because they wanted to do Diddy a favor, but because they knew the average person, they can't even figure out, aiding and abetting. Oh, I got to use this element. Oh, attempted. Oh, conspiracy. Oh, this is under New York. Oh, this is under California. Like, how they going, they haven't gotten 3 years of education in law school, and they haven't gotten enough experience as to how they're going to figure it out. You know what I mean? So, I'm just saying that. But that's what I thought. And when I was pissed off. I just turned off my thing, man. Because I was like, yo, Diddy, you're better off just saying, hey, all my fans, y'all send me my closing argument. and then give it to a lawyer to polish it off. You know what I'm saying? You're better than having 3 million people crowdsource that stuff, man. Talking about the freak off nights with special evenings and wasn't Cassie sexy and stuff like. What was he talking about? I knew Mark didn't write that. I knew he didn't write that. That was Diddy. What do you think? Tell me what you think.
Now you're right. That's why I was bringing this demonstration up about the closing arguments.
This is the strategy he should have used. Yeah, any legal person would have known that this is a strategy he should have used. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if the legal person didn't know, there's other lawyers on the team who would have checked them, unless, of course, the person whose life. It would have been simple as this. Diddy would have been like, yo, man, it's my life on the line. I'm going to get the last call. I ain't going to make the final call. I've been sitting in here for 1 year straight. I've written my my closing argument. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to do life, it's going to be on my terms. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't no way they could have, because I'm sure they practiced it. And they would have practiced it, and Diddy would have been, no, bro. I mean, he's an executive producer, right? He knows when the performance is not going well. He could have killing me with that. Yeah, this is the biggest performance of his life. This was the biggest stage. This was the biggest concert. Am I lying?
He ain't got that type of time to play with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man,
it's crunch time. So he is the executive producer, but he just ain't working with a lot of time.
Shank, man, you know what I mean? On this prostitution charges and stuff like that. On one prostitution charge, that's 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you talking about you were asking if they had records of money paid. Man, they got the you have cash out. This guy's sending cash out to the people. He's sending them wires through Bad Boy and everything like that. Come on, man. They got the records, man. They even listen. It's so funny. The part where I started laughing was, you know, his assistants. His assistant sent a message to KK like, "Hey man, you know I saw one of the Cowboys and Angels guys in the lobby. In the lobby, you know those guys stand out, right? Like in case you guys are trying to do it incognito, like this shit looking bad. You know? Everybody in on it, man. Everybody in on it.
And look, people thought Suge Knight was tripping at that Source Awards when he was talking about P. Diddy, you know, but look what came out. I mean,
facts, man. Facts, man. Facts.
Tupac, 30 years ago, Tupac was, and that was when Baby Oil Man, that was before he really got started. But Tupac was trying to tell everybody about Baby Oil Man.
Yep.
Dancing all, what he say? Y'all won't worry about the executive producers all in the video.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So, I think that I haven't really looked into that, but there's a new lawsuit filed against him and his son.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, man. So so it's crazy, man. It's crazy, and I also want to give credit to the girls. Let's not forget like how this stuff started. Like for instance, Jane. Everybody that's dragging Jane and stuff like, yo, Jane ain't talked to the police one bit, man. She ain't say nothing to the police until the police came and hit her up and be like, yo, we're doing this investigation in Diddy. You know what I'm saying? We saw you flew in some escorts and you met this person here and here. We could charge you with prostitution unless, of course, you want to testify against Diddy. You know what I'm saying? What do you think she chose? Of course she chose to testify against Diddy. But she had every opportunity to go to the police if she was looking for money. She never did. You know what I'm saying? And also, Cassie never did that also. She just played the game right, which is, hey, I'm going to come out with this tell-all book, you know what I'm saying? But you have an opportunity to buy the rights to the book, and, it will never come out. So Diddy could have done one or two things. He could have decided to buy the rights to the book and it would have come out, or he could have decided to call the feds and tell the feds, hey, I think Cassie is trying to shake me down on some extortion charges. You know what I'm saying? He decided to do neither. So what did she do? She filed the civil lawsuit. And then when she filed the civil lawsuit, now you're going to settle. And then as soon as you settled, what happens? Feds have to come knocking, bro. Feds have to come knocking. Because there's people calling it in. And then, the thing that's going viral. You know what I'm saying? And what do you call it, Shank? This is why let me explain to you specifically why it's sex trafficking. You see the way Diddy was in the town?
Uh-huh.
They were having a freak off at that moment. And Cassie wasn't down with it. And while she was leaving, he dragged her back. That's the purest form of sex trafficking.
So you think that's what was going on?
That's okay. So all the documents that I said. That's what Diddy's lawyers said went on. Yeah, and there was an escort. There was an escort in the room at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even what's it called? Remember the security guard? He also testified that when he came in the room, there was a guy sitting on the bed. So yeah, they were having a freak off. So anytime you're having sex and stuff like that, you already know this, man. Anytime you're having sex and stuff.
No, I don't know this.
No, I'm saying you know this, that anytime you're having sex and the person says no.
I don't know nothing about them type activities. Nothing at all.
Okay, well, let me tell everybody. If you're having sex and you're stroking, and the woman says no, and you hit one more stroke, that's considered illegal.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. It's considered,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's considered rape. It's considered rape. So if you're ever in a sexual situation, don't consider this as legal advice. It's not legal advice. Just it's a recommendation. But if you're ever having sex and the person says no, stop. Immediately.
That
Stop immediately and let them go if they want to go. The last thing you want to do is try and bring them back. That's where you start getting the kidnapping and the trafficking and beating them up and all the other stuff. That's not good, man. You know what I'm saying? That's not good. And that's what happened. And that's when the feds start coming in. You know what
see,
I'm
I
saying?
never knew that because I'm a one woman's guy. I only be with one
Look
woman.
at my guy. Look at my G.
Look, I only be with one woman and one woman only. So I don't know. Go ahead, Justin.
Facts. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you want to be polyamorous, which is something that the government looks down upon, you know what I mean? Then, hey, you got to make sure your game is tight. You know what I'm saying? Your game is tight. Because once people start making allegations, that's when the boys come through. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Any last words before we get out of here? Just the fact.
Last words, man. Last words. I pray as Americans that we're able to perfect our justice system. Our justice system is definitely not 100% perfect, but man, if you go around the world and you see their justice system, we're definitely in a better position. Now, we shouldn't be judging our justice system based on what other people are doing. So, you know what I mean? I hope we're able to perfect our justice system. And I'm happy that Diddy's lawyer said the jury that he saw was one of the most diverse juries he has ever seen in his practice. I'm also happy that Diddy gave compliments to the judge, telling the judge that, hey, you're doing one heck of a job. And as a black man, I can only pray that Diddy gets a fair trial. And however the cookie crumbles, the cookie crumbles. But I pray that we, as Americans, we can, use this as a teaching moment to be able to learn certain things and apply it to our lives, or be able to apply it to society to make us a better civilization. And those are my final words. Shank, you've been more than generous and very, very hospitable with your platform. I appreciate you for allowing me to come and talk on here and rant and piss off everybody, but it's all good. You know what I mean? In the age of loud opinions, every now and then it's good to have some kind of objectivity. And I pray I made a conscious effort to just present the facts. Like my name says, I want to be able to just give just the facts, no emotion, no bias, and let everybody else use their own faculties to decipher for themselves. So until next time, Shank, I'll be in the chat. We'll watch this thing through. See what happens next week.
All right. Appreciate you, good brother. Glad to have you. You opened my eyes up to some things. So you coming up was well worth it. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man. I'll be in the comments. We'll talk later.
All right. Let's give it up for Just the Facts. I appreciate you all. I see you down there, old boy. I will leave the chat running and you all can hang around until tomorrow. Not sure what time tomorrow I'm going to go live, but salute everybody and I'll see everybody back tomorrow. Salute.
Show brevity in thought. That's the way to do it. It's the most important and critical thing there is. And what I'm telling you, more than anything else, which is so critical, is for people to understand the idea that this case has hit overkill. They've been hit with this tsunami. They don't know what to make out of it. The complexity and the enormity and the sickness of it will ultimately inure to the benefit of Diddy. Guaranteed. Now listen to what I'm saying. Remember, I don't like this guy. You don't like this guy. But our liking it has nothing to do with it. If they had charged him with arson, you would be right to say, you know what? Where was any evidence of fire? That doesn't mean that nothing bad happened. It doesn't mean that that nothing occurred. It means that what they charged him with was not what they proved.
The piranhas eat the beat.
Big Lou, Shane Rock, 8 niggas, where the work at? I got some bad bitches bout they bread, they be twerking. Get a boosty boo in the boot, brain that working. Got the money, lotion up my palms, like it's some jerky. Yeah, I hit that 2-step, time to I'm about money. Say that pussy good and sweet, bet it tastes like honey. I be chasing for them dollars, I be looking for them stacks. Bet lil' mama gon' holler when I hit it from the back. Yeah, doggy style of ass, got her screaming out, man. They already know it's mob, ain't no need to explain. Got it tatted on my nigga, can't go against the grain. Fuck what they talking, it's $1 million thing.
Got $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up. I'm tryna $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
See my fuck game is straight, yeah, I lay down long. It's a scratching banging on my chest like I'm King Kong. A very freaky girl, not the type you take the mama. Had a crushing pill, smoking weed like it come on. Not the cutest nigga, but my pimp game strong. Oh, nigga, no Viagra, but my dick stay hard. Up and down chick, cause she help me put in work. Catch your ass slipping while you flirting with her skirt. See, I live life the G-way, get in on the freeway. Yeah, look good, but pimpin' ain't easy. If she ain't nasty, since she can't please me, I'm seductive type. Touch me, tease
Got $1
me.
million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up. I'm tryna $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
It's $1 million affair, the jewels be gleaming. When I walk in, them pretty hoes be scheming, trying to figure a way that they could give me a threesome. By the end of the night, them sucker niggas be beaming, but I'm on my shit, the 4/5 on hit, just in case them niggas right there wanna trip. I knocked a sip for his chick a few years ago, put her up on some gang, showed her how to get dough. I got $1 million THANG in the club with a BADDIE. She said she loves me in that movie, OG like me, and all them hoes from her hood wanna see about me.
Got $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up. I'm tryna $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up. I'm tryna.